Dad's still in hospital. He's struggling, I think. Yeah, Dad, he had a partially collapsed lung. Yesterday, Mum said something cryptic like the chest drain pump has been taken out. I don't know if she meant that he'd taken it out or the doctors had taken it out. It needed to be taken out, or it wasn't ready, or whatever. I think he's in a bad mood with the situation. He probably hates being in hospital, although he likes it more than me, from what he said. But he hates having this problem, and he hates not being able to work. I think he'd rather be at home working than in the hospital with Sudoku puzzles. That's like his only entertainment he needs, apparently, being a mathematician type person. Maybe the hospital staff aren't communicating well with him or giving him what he wants. I don't know. There's a bit of a communication blackout. He's been in for 3 nights, I think. So I'm not sure what they're fucking doing over there. But someone said his condition worsened and he might have an infection, but I don't really know what's happening there, to be honest. And it kind of got me thinking, you know, when will he pass? He's very old. I don't want him to pass away, but it's like, he's in his 70s now, he's very old, and I think, I thought he got a cold or something, but this was a result of a fall, hitting his ribs, falling when trying to walk into the kitchen. Not sure how the fuck he did that, because he knows the kitchen, he knows where the step is. Don't know if he's got broken ribs from that or not. But I mean, it's quite avoidable, I think, if you're careful. Unless he got dizzy or he's lacking leg strength, I don't know. He's been in and out of hospital with a lot of problems, but I think the worst could be, like, getting a cold while he's suffering from something else. And if they're saying he's got an infection, or, you know, because he smokes, it's to do with his lungs, he might have a problem, a lung problem inflating his lungs or something. You're dealing with one thing and then a cold infection hits. I think one of my brothers had a cold in the house and Dad was coughing the other night. That just increases the things wrong with you at the same time, makes it more difficult, and then when that sort of thing happens when you're old, you kind of get a heart attack and die or something. So I hope he's not going to pass from this, but this is the sort of thing that could be a complication that could send him into a downward spiral to his end. Or maybe he'll come out of this one and it'll be something else. He's been old for a long time, so I imagine from some of the stuff he's had, like the abdominal aorta thing that he had operated on, that that would have been something that could have killed him, and he thought it would, but he survived that. I guess when you're old like that, you only get a fair few shots at surviving things, so I'm worried what happens when he passes. It's hard for me to communicate with him. I love him, but it's hard for me to communicate with him. He makes it very difficult, and I wish I could more. And I know that when he's gone, the boys will just increase attacks on me, so it's just going to be more than one reason for it to be a dark, horrible time. I'm just going to take a photo of these cloud formations because they're pretty cool. It's not focusing on them. Anyway, tied into that, you know, thoughts of where he's going and where I'm going, I thought, hey, let's have a look at those family photo albums and look where he came from and where I came from. And so I got out these big leather book things we have. There's only a certain amount of film photos in them. Of course, with digital these days, I can have like thousands of photos of stuff that happens to me, and all catalogued by date and time and place. With these things, you only have a certain amount of photos per leather book. I don't know how many, like, let's say 40 photos, 30 or 40 photos in one. And it's like, it's a mystery as to where they're taken and when they're taken, unless you can recognize what's going on in frame. And I was trying to pull memories from seeing them. You could call them baby pics. There's pics of myself as a baby and my dad as a younger man. He looked a bit like James Bond or something. But in amongst that is just weird stuff. Like there's places I recognize. Like there's pics of Malvern House where I lived, pics of Cypress House where I lived. I didn't find the pics of the Canada house. I think they must be in some other plastic wallet or something back there. There's a few more tiny wallets of photos that I didn't go through, but I was like digitizing as many photos as I could that were like actual photos I could remember stuff from, or I could identify that that's me, or that's Dad, or that's Cyprus, or that's Malvern. I took digital photos of all of those as I was going through, sitting in the sunshine. But there's just weird things that I bumped into, like there's my dad with another young boy. That's obviously Chris, my half-brother. And he didn't really tell me much about that, but he had, like, before he met my mum, he had a relationship with someone else. And I thought he had Chris, my half-brother. But here's me looking at this book and I'm seeing another person, a little girl. And I'm like, what? And, like, my dad's being affectionate with, like, this boy and this girl, and it's obviously, like, he's acting like they're his kids. I don't know if they're one of my auntie's kids that he would be just taking on a day trip, but it looked to me like the boy who I think is Chris, or might not be. No, it must be Chris. And the girl are like, it looked like they're brother and sister, and like, if that's true, then my dad had a daughter? But he never told me about this. And I'm like, who's this little girl? Who the fuck? Like, there's pics of him with a family that is not me and my mum and my brothers. And I can understand that he was with a wife before he met mum, and I can understand that he had a son who was called Chris. I also didn't realise, like, in some of these pics, the boy is like young teens. He reached young teens, and they're like really old photos. They look like photos from the 70s or 80s. It must have been like 70s, I guess. I was born 1985, so I guess they could have been early 80s, like 1980 to 1984. And yeah, the boy who I think is Chris had reached like teenagehood by then. And through some of the times of my life when I was a baby, like at least 2 solid times, I remember Chris coming round to see us and Dad introducing him to us, and he was like a much older guy with like a ponytail at that point. Like, he was already a young adult, and he came to visit us when we were in Woolwich, which is near London, which I don't think we have any pictures of that place. I couldn't see any. And he came to visit us when we lived in Horrabridge, the first house we got in Horrabridge as well. And he seemed to have a girlfriend there, but you know, look at these pics, I'm like, was that his girlfriend, or was that like a sister or something? Or maybe that was his girlfriend, but what's going on with the photos? Does Chris have a sister? Does my dad have a daughter? What the fuck's the story there? Or maybe it's like the woman he was married to or was going out with before he met my mum, maybe she had a daughter from a prior relationship. But that doesn't make sense, because the girl is obviously younger than the guy who I think is Chris. So it would have, if Dad had Chris, then Dad would have had a little girl, right? So what the fuck's going on? Why has no one ever told me about this girl? Now I'm just like, I want Dad to come back just so I can, for one thing, just ask him, like, what is this? What's this photo album I found? Who's this girl? It's weird. Maybe something traumatic happened to the little girl and he doesn't talk about her. Maybe she died or something, I don't know. Like, why didn't we see her? Maybe there's some weird, like, angry breakup something. Like, what the fuck? It's so weird. It's so weird when you don't know the full story about your parents and then you find stuff out late. And I found out stuff about my granddad, like, he was in World War II in Burma, and he, like, fled the army. Like, I guess the army wanted him to do operations in Burma, and he, like, bailed on the army. And it's like, that's all I really know. It's like, what was going on? I didn't even know we were at war with Burma or something, which I think is called Myanmar now. They're like, I didn't know Britain was doing anything historically in the country of Burma, but apparently we had a bunch of British soldiers there. So that makes me think, what the fuck are they doing over there? What were they doing? And maybe they were doing something shady and my granddad didn't like it and he left the army. Or maybe he left the army for another reason. And yet, that didn't stop my dad from joining the army afterwards, so I don't know if he was disgraced or if it was something else. But I do like looking at the old photos, and I see a pic of me and then I identify it as me, and then I'm like, how do I now put my mind, how do I get in that empathize with my younger self thing? Because I don't know the memory. I can clearly see a picture of me in this sunny place, and then I can partially recognise some of the toys I had, and then some of the towels and some of the ornaments in that, and some of the houses and stuff. But I can't, obviously it's a picture of me from the camera, so you can't see the picture from my eyes of what I was seeing as a kid at that moment, which would be more of a memory if I could see that than seeing myself not seeing from that point of view in the photo, if you know what I mean. It's like, to provide your kid with a more complete picture of their memory of that time, take a photo of your kid and then go down to your kid's face height and look at what they're looking at and take a photo of that as well, and then keep those two photos together. So not only do you have a photo of you in this place and time, you have the more important thing of what the kid would have seen at that time, and they're more likely to look at that photo and go, oh yes, I remember that. I don't remember the picture of me because I couldn't see me, I didn't have a mirror in front of me that day, but seeing a photo from my point of view at what I was looking at, it's like, wow, I remember that. So if you're a family, try taking photos of your kid and then from your kid's perspective in that same moment. That's what I would say. That's like a fix for what I was seeing, because yeah, looking back at my family photos as a dad, I'm like, I can see me, I can see the room I was in, I sort of remember the room, but I don't remember this memory because I don't know what I was seeing that was behind the camera as I was facing the camera. Like, I don't have a good connection to this memory. So it's more of a memory for my parents looking at me than it is a memory for me looking at whatever I was looking at. But I love looking at the old photos because it's old film photos, the colours bleed, they have little tints and grades, and like the colours like faded. It might not be an accurate colour representing what things look like there, or maybe it was an accurate colour and the colour of everything back in the 1980s, if you were there to look at it, was different. But you can see stuff like ancient cars and stuff, so you can tell it's from the past, and it looks like a happier place, and there's like white picket fences and paddling pools in green gardens, and no digital stuff. No one was on their digiphones. You got like a rotary phone sitting in the background of one shot. All the TVs are the old style TVs. It's like a much nicer place, and I remember all that stuff and identify with it and relate to it a lot more than I relate to, like, if I turned either side of me, you'd see these weird blob cars. All the cars are like swoops, and they don't look boxy, and they don't look, they're of this era, and it's kind of rubbish compared to what was of that era in the 1980s, where everything looked really nice. Yeah, so that's, I guess, a video about the end of our lives and looking back to the beginning of our lives. Thank you for watching.